Hello, my name is Justin Archote. Thank you for watching my analysis of mutual funds. Alright, so the objective for this project is to analyze 10 mutual funds from 3 industries and pick a favorite and least favorite in each industry. Now the 3 industries that I did were domestic mutual funds, international mutual funds, and then we had to choose between sector mutual funds. All right, for my first category, domestic mutual funds, I had a focus in large growth. As you can see here, I have the data that I pulled. I made my decision based off of this data. So my favorite mutual fund out of these ended up being FDGRX, which is Fidelity Growth Company Mutual Fund. The reason I like that fund is, if you take a look down here, it has the highest 5-year average return by a good margin. We also see no load fee. I do realize that the expense ratio is the highest, but I believe that it's worth it based on this 5-year average return. I wanted a 5-year average return because I believe it's hard to trust a 1-year return. Could have had a good year, could have had a bad year, so I think the 5-year gives you a more clear picture. And going on with Fidelity Growth, we also see a low turnover rate. So that's why I chose Fidelity Growth Company Mutual Fund as my favorite out of the domestic mutual funds. My least favorite was SGFFX, also known as Sparrow Growth A Mutual Fund. If you look at this one here, and I have it in the red, it's looking pretty bad if you compare it. The 5-year average return is in the middle of the returns, but we do see a load fee, and we also see a crazy high expense ratio. So that's 2.65. The next highest would be my favorite, and that's 0.85. So look at the difference, 0.85 and 2.65. And that return, of course, is lower than the Fidelity one. And then also, if you check out the turnover rate, 256%. So there's been a ton of activity going on with taking things out and putting things into this mutual fund. So next we have international mutual funds. Once again, a focus in large growth. My favorite was MIOPX, also known as Morgan Stanley Institutional International Mutual Fund. It has a decent turnover rate, so it's right at 30%. Not too high, not too low. An average fee level reported by Morningstar. So I know that it is one of the higher out of the 10, but I went on Morningstar and it said that that expense ratio is average for mutual funds like this one. And of course, the 5-year average return is much higher than the other mutual funds that I looked at. My least favorite out of the international mutual funds is going to have to be TGRHX, Transamerica International Growth. It has the lowest return, 4.84, so lowest by quite some margin. And it also it does have the lowest expense ratio, but I don't think that's enough to justify this very low return. And we also see a load fee, $5.50. Okay, for my sector fund, I chose high yield bond. I actually have some money in high yield bond funds. My favorite out of the 10 was FEGIX. That is Fidelity Capital and Income Mutual Fund. It has the highest 5-year average return, and remember that we're talking about bonds here, not stocks. So great return. I mean, just under 7% for a high yield bond fund. We see an expense ratio of 0.67. That's not even one of the highest on this out of these 10. And we see a turnover rate of 39%, also no load fee. So my least favorite is First Investors Fund for Income. It's got the highest expense ratio by far. So we're looking at 1.21 compared to my favorite at 0.67. And it's also got the lowest 5-year average return. So you're paying more for lesser return. Obviously, nobody wants to do that. And you also have a higher turnover rate compared to the Fidelity. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching.